Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Winning Sometimes show. This is a podcast where Matt, Emiliano, and I talk about video games, tech, and whatever the heck we're passionate about. How you guys doing today?
Doing pretty well. A little bit of deja vu going on today, but other than that, I feel pretty good about things.
Yeah, sorry about that. I had my mic muted the first take. I'm so sad.
It's all right. It wasn't bad. Again, I'm fine. I've been running a lot, so I've been a little sore. But other than that, top notch.
How are your running shoes?
Okay. I think I need to get them replaced, though. What running shoes would you recommend, actually? I meant to ask
It
that.
depends. I mean, New Balance have always been a pretty stiff. You said you've mentioned that you used New Balance before, but
Yeah, 1080s. I got the 1080s
Yeah.
with the inserts.
I used Asics for the longest time. The thing about them is that they provide more cushioning, but their support dies. Like their support breaks down, and it's really important for running shoes to have good support. Like I think for good running shoes, they last about 500 miles. I ran in high school and college, so I have many miles under my belt. Have not run as much. I guess I ran a bit in my 20s, but I did a half marathon. That was fun. But
Nice.
I have completely let it go since. I need to get back into that. But Asics are probably the most general recommendation. There's one brand that I'm forgetting that I have right now. And
Kona?
What's that?
Kona,
No. I've never heard of that.
they're relatively niche. That's the what I transitioned. So for those of you who don't know, Crack and I both were competitive runners for a long time, and so yes, I've gone through a lot of shoes in my life as well. But for both Ronan, Emiliano, and anyone who's listening, my recommendation on shoe stuff, because we're talking about different brands and support and cushioning and all that sort of stuff, go to like an actual local running store and like tell them, it's like, hey, this is the kind of running I do. I do trail running, I do road running, I do track, whatever. And actually, don't go to like a big box store, like, and again, I don't want to call companies out or anything like that, but like a Foot Locker or anything like that. Go to an actual, like you probably have, if you live in a town that's very big at all, a running store in it, and let them know what you're trying to do. And a lot of times they'll have people like me or Clint who used to run and are, understand a lot of it. And they'll be like, here, put these shoes on and like run up and down the store, and they'll watch you run and kind of figure out, okay, you pronate, you're a toe striker, you're a mid striker, things like that. And they'll help you. That's probably, if you're new to shoeing, the running, I have no idea what I'm saying, but you get the point.
Wait.
Yeah. No.
What's pronate?
So
by the
it's
way?
how your foot, as you hit your heel, you land on your heel and you roll off your, the bottom of your sole of your foot. It's what side do you put all your weight on? Like, do you put it on the outside, like the outsides of your foot, or do you kind of like run across the middle? Are you flat-footed? Do you have a good roll as your foot lands and you push off on it, as you run?
It's the yaw of the foot.
Yeah, to bring a more technical term. Yeah, it's really important for running to get good shoes because you risk getting injured. If you don't have support, you will hurt your knees, your bridge of your foot, and your hips. Like it's gonna happen. So really important. So yeah, that's awesome that you're running though. I am not. Brooks.
Thanks for joining us on the Running Sometimes show.
Yeah, welcome to Running Cast.
Well,
but yeah, Brooks are my favorite.
Before we get started, I kind of wanted to ask you guys about Beyond Light, since that just came out.
Oh, yeah.
And I've been playing that. So what do you guys think about it? What are your thoughts, opinions?
So I'll get started because I have not played Destiny at all. I have sort of a shotgun opinion I haven't played Destiny at all this year. So I think I played in January. But when Beyond Light came out, it was really nice to get back into Destiny. And it's, good FPS, good, like, way better netcode. I have a buddy who has terrible internet. Like, terrible. It's like 10 megs and 1 meg.
You can use my name. It's okay.
Oh, you work for an ISP. You should have good internet. Anyway, yeah, so he struggles whenever we play like Call of Duty Warzone or something. Like it just is bad, and he's jumping all around the map. But Destiny has good netcode, and he's just pretty solid. He doesn't have nearly as much issues. But yeah, it was fun. I don't like Beyond Light's really good. I like it. The main campaign sucks. It's like a copy of Forsaken, feels like at times, but everything that happens after the campaign missions, because they have lots and lots of content, so like 100% double thumbs up on how much content there is, which you get for Beyond Light, and all the story stuff that happens post game or post campaign, like it's a dream. Like the Golden Age stuff comes back. They bring back the Exo Stranger. The Exo Stranger isn't boring. It isn't like hamstrung or like Marvel-ized, like it. Solid story, solid new things. Like I'm really enjoying that. PvP is kind of fun, although I am a warlock, and if you play Destiny, yeah, I have to pay respects.
Warlocks are the best.
So, Clint, what happened to Warlocks?
No. So with Beyond Light, they added Stasis element, which is like a freezy element, and to start, it's really OP, like for everyone. If you have everyone has abilities to freeze enemies, and that is included in PvP in Crucible. And the freeze, when it started, the freeze was like 5 seconds. So imagine you're playing an FPS and you're like trying to shoot someone, and then suddenly you can't move for 5 seconds. That's like completely overpowered. Well, Warlocks had the best ability to freeze people, the quickest, because they're basically Gandalf freezy people. So they just use their staff and they shoot. Ice Gandalf, yeah. And they shoot you, and 5 seconds, and it's like you could freeze someone with the Warlock from not pressing any buttons to they're frozen in like under a second. And everyone else, I think you have to like throw a grenade and then wait for the grenade to blow up, and it's like 3-4 seconds. So that matters in an FPS. But Warlocks got nerfed immediately. It was like less than a week. It was like 3 days.
Exactly a week. Don't exaggerate.
What?
Well, to be fair,
Was
people
it?
were posting videos of Warlocks decimating bosses in like seconds, like in PvE.
Oh,
with
really?
These abilities too.
Well, they had there was a couple bugs. Like there was a boss damage bug where you freeze it and it would do 50,000 damage. And the ultimate ability for Warlocks was you get to be Ice Gandalf permanently. You can shoot as many ice bolts as you can within like 30 seconds. So if you freeze them, then you have You Shall Not Pass, where he like throws up his staff and it like sends out this blast. And when the blast hits the frozen enemy, they shatter. So bosses would like get frozen, and then the ice would shatter off of them and do 50,000 damage, which is incredible damage. Like your regular gun does like 1,500 damage per shot. So you're saving so much time on that boss. But that was a bug. Like fix the bug. They nerfed the range of the ice freezy bolt, like just the regular ability, where it was a little OP before. You could shoot across
a little.
Well, okay, 30 meters. If a map is like 300 meters, 30 meters isn't that much. But people
what
weren't.
Map is 300 meters?
Well,
with
not
an actual line of sight.
Oh no, none of them have line of sight that long. But what's the one? Not Twilight Gap. What's the one in the tower?
Bannerfall.
Yeah, Bannerfall has a few longer sight lines. Anyway, my point is, yes, it was way longer than people would have expected any ability to that strong to go, except a super, and yeah, it needed to be nerfed. But now we can't even fire across the room. Like it just, I will often melee someone, send out the ice bolts, and it will just like putter out right before it hits them, or like way before it hits them. Like I don't know, it's too far. It changed it for PvP. They nerfed it for PvE too. So like they're seriously crippled. Although like in PvE it doesn't matter as much because you have all of these chaining abilities. So I don't know.
Well, it does, I think. Like now I try to get close before I use it, but we'll end up actually punching instead of using that ice bolt, and that annoys the hell out of me now. So
yeah, right.
Anyway,
it's hard because if you're really close to an enemy and you try to use the melee, you'll like just hit them. You'll slap them, the warlock slap.
It's a nice slap.
But then like if you're too far, then you won't actually hit them because the ice bolt will disintegrate. So it's like really hard to judge. Okay, when can I use it? So I don't think they play tested the nerf at all. Which is just
well, I mean
lovely.
they nerfed it within a week, so yeah, I'm guessing not.
Yeah. Anyway, that's what happened in Beyond Light with warlocks. But how did you like Beyond Light, No Face?
Well, actually, I kind of want to hear Ronin's take on it. I want to hear Emiliano because I feel like I might be the dissenter here.
Oh, well, I overall like it. I took a big break from Destiny because I was getting tired of like the same grind, and the grind hasn't really been changed. I feel like you still have to do the same things you've been doing for the past from D1 pretty much to level, and the leveling is only meaningful once you hit the hard cap. So that system I'm not a fan of, but I like the new weapons. I like the new abilities. The new raid has been fantastic. And like
no spoilers.
Yeah, like Clint had mentioned, the story seems very samey to Forsaken. But I am enjoying myself. I'm enjoying playing, so I am liking it with caveats. So, what about you?
Okay, I'll actually that's actually relatively close to where I am. So I played Destiny like throughout the entire summer. Like I played, well, pretty much since the pandemic started. Like I started working from home, the gyms closed, all that sort of stuff, and so all of a sudden my like 40-minute commute no longer existed every day. So that's like an hour and a half of time that I got back in my life. So I played pretty solidly. And Beyond Light, Season of the Hunt are very much the same. So if you're on the fence of like you're an older player trying to get back in or something like that, and you're like, oh, should I get Beyond Light? I mean, if you liked Destiny, it's more Destiny. Like it's the same old. Again, credit where credit is due on everything. The graphics are amazing. The raid is really good. Again, no spoilers, but like the raid is really good. There's a lot of good stuff in there, but it's the stuff that Bungie does well every time, And so while I'm enjoying it, I also enjoyed like before Beyond Light, like I enjoyed all that sort of stuff. So, I mean, if you like it, you'll probably like it. If you didn't like it before, you probably won't like it now. It's not like a whole lot of fundamental things changed. I mean, even with like aspects and all the ways they changed how you can spec out your Guardian and things like that, it's really pretty minor, the actual real changes.
I mean, like for me, if the one thing that would, I feel, improve my gameplay is if I could do bounties without having to go to the tower. I can turn them in, but I have to go to the tower to pick them up. And every time I have to go to the tower, if I forget, I gotta go back to the tower. If they would let me get bounties from anywhere, I think that would help the whole process a little. for me.
So this is what I'll say about the bounty system, and my biggest gripe with the bounty system. If I could do bounties without competing against the people in my fire team, I'd be so much happier. Like when there's like, go out and kill 10,000 hive or whatever, and I load into a strike that's going to have like 200 total, and then I'm competing with 2 other people to get those kills. That's stupid. I hate that.
Agreed.
But again,
Yeah, that is one thing that's been happening. Is my same buddy that has the bad internet. Like I guess I've been getting really lucky with the Empire hunts, like all of the requirements to do them, and the Varric sabotage missions. Like I get the one you go to pick them up, and it's like there's a random task, and I get all the tasks that I can complete immediately, and he gets all the tasks that it takes forever to do. Like the Cristocrine armor one, where you got to have 4 pieces of Cristocrine. He wasn't keeping them, so he had to go get Cristocrine armor to do like 6 different bounties or something. And that took literally an hour and a half last night to just grind to get the Cristocrine armor. Because what else are we going to do? Like, I'm not going to go on without him. And we just had to go looking for high-value targets all over the place. What's that?
Just leave me behind. Save yourself.
Yeah, it certainly some of the bounties could be improved. I do enjoy how big Europa is and how much lore-related stuff there is in Europa. I wish there was more, but I'm greedy.
Yeah, and again, Bungie, it is a beautiful area. Like, it's absolutely beautiful between the weather, the art direction, and everything, which is always spectacular. And, okay, I hadn't thought about this before, but now I'm actually going to say this. So, I encourage you, even if you're not going to run the raid, like, listen to the music from the raid. Like, Emiliano, I don't know if you paid attention while you were in the raid or anything. Yeah, the music in the raid is actually fantastic. So,
really,
yeah, it's a fun raid. And the music is spectacular. So if you're not the kind of person to grind out to get all the way up to light and up to the power level and do the raid, still check out the music because it's pretty damn good.
That's awesome.
But I feel like Destiny music has always been really good. I mean, Forsaken had great music.
True.
I've always liked Destiny music. But
yeah, I'm really sad for Marty O'Donnell's exit from Bungie. I think that he had an unmistakable, powerful impact on the music. Mike Salvatore is the composer of the current Destiny music and has been since vanilla Destiny 1. So, props to him. It's really great. I do feel like it is less emotional. And it has been, and it's just like it matches what we're playing and what's on the screen. But in terms of like having a emotional, like, revelatory impact on you, that just like, oh my gosh, this is great. I'm playing and I feel the emotions that are supposed to be, communicated on the screen, like all the characters, and it just Marty had a way of just like tying everything in just the biggest, most expensive bow that really hit home. So I
like
actually
how you're
turned
on a first name basis with him.
Everyone is. I mean, everyone, when you say Marty, you know who I'm talking about. But
has he done anything else since he left? Do you know?
He's done Gollum. He started his own studio.
Yeah.
And he did a PSVR game named Gollum. And I supported his Kickstarter and got an early release of the music, and it's really good. I just haven't played the game, so I don't have that much context. But yeah, I will have to turn my music back on because I usually turn it off so that I can clip things in Crucible for a montage or a video or something like that. So yeah, I'll have to turn it back on and play the raid. I plan to. I just wanted to wait for everyone to figure it out. Speaking of video game music, though, this is what I want to talk about today. So, we've all played games for a long time, video game music has been one of those sleeper hits. I think in terms of like traditionally recognized music genres, video game music has been the underdog. Um, Definitely, if you go talk to a music teacher, depending on how traditional they are, they will like scoff at you and be like, "What are you talking about? That's anybody can make music, I'm sure." It's like, well, hold on. There's a whole lot of merit in video game music, and not only because video games are like such an amazing medium where you are not only seeing what's on the screen, but you are participating in it too. It's like, it's you have such agency in a video game that any of the emotions, if the video game is done right, you are sharing the emotions with the characters in the story, and you're empathizing with the characters way more intimately. So like video game music has that potential to like tie in those emotions with the auditory experience. Plus, I don't know, video game music is one of those things where it's like, I don't know if you guys have ever been like, you went on a trip, like a vacation or something, and there was like a very distinct smell, and then you smell that years later and you're like, oh my gosh, all these memories are flowing back. I think video game music does that for me, where it's like I will not hear some music for a long time, and then suddenly I hear somebody humming it on YouTube, or I hear someone puts the music on, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh my gosh, I remember when I played that game. I remember what it felt like. I remember that big twist. Like, I love that game.
So can I tangent off that real quick?
Yeah.
So not only the music, but like the sound effects too, like the whole sound, everything about games.
Soundscape.
To this day, there's in Diablo 1, which I realized came out in like 1993 or something ridiculous, right? In Diablo 1, there was a very specific sound that would happen when you would open a chest and it was booby trapped. And so as soon as you heard that sound, you had to like get away. And to this day, like I just heard when you said that, I heard that sound in my mind and I got a little bit anxious because like it's just one of those things that's ingrained in me. When you hear that sound, like run, it means danger. And so yes, I completely agree with you.
Yeah, and it's crazy how much video games have an effect on you, in that like Mario even. You play Mario as a kid and like you hear the sound of the hitting the question block and you get the power up you want, and it makes a little sound. And it's like you will always remember that sound and the feeling it was associated with it. So yeah, video game music is amazing. And one thing that's interesting that's happened to me a bunch in the last couple years is I listen to a ton of music. I'm on Spotify. I used Pandora when it came out. That was when I was in college. And, internet radio is a thing. It's like some algorithm where it's like, oh, well, based on this genre and all these tags, it'll suggest music to you. And I've last couple of years, I've been listening to some bands that just, I don't know, I guess they have done work in the video game music industry, or they're very close, and other people that listen to those bands also listen to video game music. So as I was going through this internet radio, like I would have, songs would sequentially happen, and like it would start to creep into video game music, and it was music for a game that I've never played and never heard of. And so like I always like pull music that I really, would really grooves with me and love. I'll pull it into a playlist and it's like, okay, I'll save that because I really like that song. And that happened for some games for me where I had never played the game and the music was just, it blew me away. And I was like, oh my gosh, what is this? This gives me so many emotions, like without the whole video game experience that I was just talking about. And then I went and played the game. So one of them that's like a perfect example is ABZU, which is a game that's about diving. I actually don't really know even after playing it, I don't really know exactly what what's the story cell. But in the game, you are a diver and you're going from place to place, and all of these like psychedelic things start to happen. Like just, and they're not psychedelic, but they're like very vibrant. Like, there's wild like fish and sea creatures, and you go from place to place in this underwater world, and you experience pretty cool things. And the music for that, it's by Austin Wintory, which I'll talk about him a little bit more, but it was like this full, quiet, like serene orchestral sound. It's this full-bodied orchestra, and it's accompanied by choir, like very soft choir, and it's just got this intense like feeling of wonder and exploration and beauty. And it was just like it kind of unrolls, not like down a hill kind of way. It's just like softly unrolling and building this feeling of just like everything is beautiful. And like, holy crap, like when music does that to me, it's like, that's why I love music. So I went and played the game, and I didn't like it as much as the music.
Wait, so you didn't like the game?
I mean, I did. I actually didn't finish it. But like the feeling that the music gave me wasn't matched by the visuals in the game. And it's one of those, like, you're swimming, so it's not a walking simulator, but it's like you go through and you go from place to place and you avoid certain threats, but that's really all there is to the game, which can, they're kind of roller coaster rides, rather than like a fully I am the character kind of thing. But yeah, it was good. I would recommend going and playing ABZU. But the music is the thing that really just blew me away. And I still have it. Like, I still have it in playlists in Spotify. Yeah.
So what I'm hearing is play the game, but don't listen to the music first, because you'll be disappointed.
I don't know. You might actually like it more than I did. I would recommend playing it first.
I mean, it sounds a lot like Death Stranding the way you're describing it, which also had music that I enjoyed. But yeah.
Yeah, Death Stranding has some really good ones. Death Stranding has actually less, like, they have a lot of like pop music or like sung music.
They have songs, but they have some orchestra stuff.
Yeah. I'll have to listen to that more, because I feel like it blended in the background. Like that world is so well crafted in terms of narrative that like that's really what I focused on, or I guess was drawn to. But one of the moments in Death Stranding that's just beautiful is when you get all packed up because you're a UPS man in post-apocalyptic world. And you start just running across the plains, and as you like, the game will notice when you're in a spot that's like close to where you're going, and it'll just start, it'll flip on the radio to, Low Roar, the band that collaborated with Kojima, and they have like, it's really chill, like sad, singing type of music. It's more like pop. Like not pop, but like contemporary music.
Sad pop.
Yeah, sad pop. but like having your feeling that you're this post-apocalyptic UPS man. There's no one out here right now, because if they were, they would be in super danger, and you're just one guy carrying the world on his back, going to the next place, saving the world. Yeah. I like Death Stranding. But yeah, I was going to ask.
I'm still not going to play it. Just letting both y'all know I'm still not going to buy it.
Well, maybe I'll make a video so you can experience at least like what they were going for. But
it's an experience.
What video game music do you guys like? And is there any video game music that has really impacted you or just stuck with you?
I don't know. I'm going to defer to Emiliano on this one, and as far as the music goes.
Well, I feel like I need to pay attention more, because I feel everything I do seems more on a superficial level. Like Clint, when you're talking about your experiences and how it brings back memories and stuff, I'm like, man, that sounds amazing. So I need to start paying attention more, I think. Because, I mean, I love games and I like the music, but I feel like I haven't gotten that visceral connection with an experience and sound. So I don't know. I mean, there's music that I like, but I haven't gotten that experience. And the way you described it, I'm like, man, that's poetic and very beautiful. So,
Well, I mean, just liking the music is fine too. It's the kind of thing for me that music is such a big part of my life, and I guess just the breathing of my life, that, you know, when I inhale I'm listening to music, when I exhale I'm listening to music, and I care about it a lot. So yeah, I would recommend listening more, because the composers and the people that are designing the soundscape in the video games really do put a lot of care and extra, like, it's another level of quality that you should consider and can dig into.
yeah.
Yeah, video games are so great. But what
So-
what
Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, Emiliano, what video game music do you like?
Well, I think like maybe the first video game music that kind of I really took notice about was Pokemon Red and Green for the Game Boy Color. That MIDI intro, I feel like really, like when it came on, I knew, I knew right away what it was. And then that led to the anime, which led to that awesome "Gotta Catch 'Em All" song.
Yeah.
But like I can still hear those MIDI sounds when I was playing. Like the MIDI roars, the MIDI like hits and stuff as you're playing the game.
Yeah.
And I think the Game Boy Color was, I think that was the first game console I purchased on my own. Because before that there was a Nintendo, Super Nintendo. My parents bought those, and like Red and Green was the first like game that I bought on my own. I guess that was like in 98, 99 when I got it. And I think I was like in Ohio at the time. So yeah, Pokemon Red and Green, that MIDI soundtrack, those MIDI roars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
So no, you have no music
So
likes?
not, I guess not a whole lot in the way y'all are describing it. Definitely not in the way like Clint's describing it, where like, oh, I listened to this soundtrack.
Clint's on a
and
whole
it
other
made me wanna play
level.
this
I'm
game.
like,
Oh,
whoa.
no. So like, I really enjoy music. Don't get me wrong. Like I really do enjoy music. But like, I can't say that I've ever just been listening to a song and been like, huh, I want to play this game now. Like that's definitely not an experience that I've ever had. But if I'm going to talk about, I don't know, probably like a more impactful song or something, like probably the first thing I thought of, have y'all played Final Fantasy 15?
Oh yeah.
No.
Okay, well, all right. So for anyone who has not played Final Fantasy 15 and thinks they might, you should probably like skip to like, I don't know, 5 minutes from now, because I'm about to throw some spoilers out there.
Oh no.
So Final Fantasy 15, there's this point at the end of the game where, okay, again, spoilers, the main character is about to die. He knows that he's about to die, and he's willingly about to basically go sacrifice himself to save the world or whatever, right? I know it's pretty cliche, but it's actually relatively well executed. And so during that, there has, like, for the game, like the title music, there's been intro music that's kind of played over the title. And it's been this really simple melody that's just being played, kind of like in the, I don't want to say genre, but in the style of like kind of a MIDI tune like you were talking about. Just real simple thing, just kind of looped this like 10 seconds or whatever. So as you play through the game, you get to the part where the guy is like telling his friends that, hey, I'm about to die. We're about to go fight the boss and I have to die. All of you are going to survive, but I'm going to die. And you hear the intro music kind of starting to play. And you're like, okay, cool, intro music, title music, no big deal. And I didn't realize it at the time. It was actually a song I had already heard. It was a song I knew by Florence and the Machine, and it was the cover of Stand By Me. And I never realized that Florence and the Machine had written that song specifically for Final Fantasy 15. And so they intentionally put like the MIDI style music at the beginning. And so you've been hearing the end of the game the whole time while you're on the title screen. And so, and it was pretty impactful because one, by the time I got to the main boss, I had played like 50, 60 hours of this game, but I'd crammed that all into like a week and a half because there was about to be an update that came up that was going to change one of the chapters. And I was like, oh, I've got to finish the game before they update it and change it so I can experience the original version and go back and play it again, see which one I like better.
Yeah.
So I had crammed 60 hours of character development of like this like road trip story of these like buddies like just going around being friends, and there's all this like interconnection and everything where they become deeper friends and they explore their relationships and all sorts of stuff. And then, you know, in a week and a half after I got to know all these people, it's like, hey guys, I'm going to die. And now like Stand By Me by Florence and the Machine, like I'm scarred. So
yeah, I Final Fantasy 15 was, I wish they ended it differently, but I get why they did, and I like understood that. And yeah, that it could have been anything at that point, like Stand By Me or, you know, any other song. But yeah, that was huge. Man, that whole game is just so well crafted. Like there are certainly parts we could talk about that for probably a podcast, but
yeah, that's an entire show about
I have
how
to play it
Final
first.
Fantasy 15 failed me.
I absolutely, I mean, even if, you know, having Matt say what he did about the story, Emiliano, I 100% recommend you play Final Fantasy 15.
But I feel like I've already played it hearing Matt talks.
Well,
I'm just kidding.
It's not about the destination. It's about the journey.
No, it's 100% the destination.
Yeah. Well, I'm surprised that, well, I guess, I don't know. It's in my head. I'm surprised that you say that, Matt, about never having listened to music and saying, oh, I want to go play that game. That happens to me actually kind of a lot, just because of how, you know, the Spotify radio or Pandora or, you know, however long it's happened a lot. Another game it happened to me with was Everybody's Gone to Rapture. I didn't know the name of the game for the longest time, but I listened to half the podcast or half the soundtrack, and it's. I guess I have only come to realize that I like opera and choir music more than I thought in the last couple years, maybe the last 4 or 5 years. So this one is a lot. Okay, so again, it's sad. There is a single female vocalist, who just it's like an Araya kind of situation, and okay, so think. This is the vibes that it gave me was everyone is dead. Like I had never played the game. Everyone is dead. You know, the song is almost celebrating the life of those who had died. And it's like it was a very like post-apocalyptic feel again that. And so a single vocalist like begins and is sort of singing this very somber single melody, and then it's sort of like, I'm trying to remember the word, I can't remember it, like sort of goes down into the rest of the
crescendo.
No, it's not a crescendo. It's the one where it diminishes.
A decrescendo.
Yeah. So her melody diminishes, and then a choir, like a men's choir, comes up, and there's, you know, probably 20 people in the choir, and they all start singing, and it's like this very, like, I want to say pastoral. It's like, think of cathedral, not like church music, like, R&B or anything like that, or even like monks singing or anything like that. It's like you could listen to it in a cathedral and it would be very like solemn and like reverent. So like the whole song, you've got this post-apocalyptic sad feeling, and then this reverence of the choir coming in. I wish we could put in clips for the song, because this one is just, you gotta listen to it. And if you don't like choir music, maybe just give it a try. But it's Jessica Curry, and look up the Everybody's Gone to Rapture. And I went and played the game, and actually I have some major criticisms of how they designed it, but it is a walking simulator, and it's about...
What is it with you two?
I don't know.
That's
I
a lot
played
of
this walking
simulators.
simulator. I played this swimming simulator.
I mean, I would not have played this game. I didn't even know about this game until I heard the music. But then you go in, and it's you start in this what's this observatory, this astronomical observatory in the middle of rural England, like London or Great Britain. So it's like, think very like out in the boonies, but in Great Britain. Is very English. There's little cottages. You come down from the hill from the observatory, and you hear, you come across there's no one there, by the way. So like everyone is gone, and there's no trace of human bodies. Like there's no like blood or anything. And you come across these like swirling lights, like almost like spirits floating around the town. And you're like, what's going on? You can interact with the spirits, and they start playing back memories. And it turns out that every spirit or every light, swirling light, is the memory or impression of a person that died. And you go through and you find all of them, and you kind of learn about the people in this village that, slowly had this like basically alien thing happen, and there was a quarantine. And you hear like each of the characters, and they're all very like traditional English people. And there's a Catholic priest there, Father, I forget his name, but Father something. And there
he
are
was
people
probably from the Church of England, just saying.
Yeah, well, no, I thought it was, well, anyway. I think it was Catholic, but I don't remember. It could have been. But yeah, and you hear, there's sometimes kids, there's sometimes, there's, young adults, and you hear the perspective of each of these types of people, and you go through basically the whole village, and there's, yeah, if you want to go play that game, just be patient, because the whole walking speed is extremely slow, like 3 times as slow as it should have been in the game. And
I was about to say this game sounds like something I would play until you said that.
You said that.
So if you can get a mod, or look up and find a mod for Everybody's Gone to Rapture to increase the walking speed, I would 100% recommend it. I think they were worried about people skipping the audio clips, because that's like the main content of the game. What's
like the viewpoint, or what's the, is it,
it's
or
first
the viewpoint
person.
Is it like first person? Okay, so
yeah.
it's like current graphics. It's not like stylized, or it's not like okay. Yeah, I never heard of it.
Yeah, it is excellent. And if you can get past the walking speed, or you can find a mod, I would 100% recommend it. But the whole soundtrack is like how I described. It's like there's vocals there. It feels very reverent and sad, and like it is like, I listen to that soundtrack probably 2 or 3 times a year minimum since I played that. It was a couple years ago. But yeah, it was another one where I just heard the music, and I'm like, this is so rich, and such a well written music, I have to go play the game. And this one was a little better than ABZU, but yeah,
Okay.
I mean that. Go ahead.
So well, okay, I've got a question, and this is just something I just thought of a second ago. Other than gameplay, it's sounding like one of the things that draws you into games a lot is the soundstage, the music, all that sort of stuff. That seems like something like when you're looking at a new game or how you find new games seems a lot through music. Again, I have absolutely never experienced that. That is not something I have ever done. And I believe Ronan said the same thing. So I guess my question for Emiliano here is,
Yo.
is there anything other than gameplay necessarily that has drawn you into a game before? Because like this is not something I've ever really thought of before. So what do you think, Ronan? Is there anything other than gameplay that has really pulled you into a game?
You know, I will say that back when I was a kid and I saw the trailer for Mortal Kombat with all the kids, like, and that techno beat comes on and all the kids start raising their fists and yelling Mortal Kombat, that trailer made me play the game. And then a soundtrack came out later that was based off of that techno beat by the Immortals, which is an excellent soundtrack. Johnny Cage's soundtrack is, Sub-Zero, Scorpion. But yeah, that I feel like that trailer was what got me into Mortal Kombat back then. And I don't think there's been since a trailer that has just given me so much joy as that Mortal Kombat trailer from back when it first came out with that techno beat that just makes you want to dance and punch someone in the face.
So for
Pull
anyone
their skull
listening that's
off.
trying to market to Emiliano, techno beats and Mortal Kombat is how you get him drawn in.
But man, that
No,
and
it was-
I don't want to hum it just in case we get copyright. But that song, so good.
I know y'all can't see it, but like Ronan is busy like fist pumping and everything right now as he's talking about this techno beat. So yeah, we'll have to find that commercial and link it out on YouTube or something like that.
Oh, such a good commercial.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's the good
Clint,
stuff.
you say you enjoy like powerful emotional music that has like depth and meaning. Have you ever listened to the Monster Hunter soundtrack? Because I'm telling you, the themes for those monsters are so majestic and beautiful and just fills your soul. So good.
I have not.
I mean, he's not wrong though. Like the soundtrack is pretty good.
I'll have to check it out because, yeah, it's Monster. Sorry, I gotta tell you again, Ronan, that the Monster Hunter boss rush is just not my speed. Having to like put in a bunch of effort, like not engaging in the gameplay loop. Although I guess it is the gameplay loop, but like preparing and leveling and preparing and leveling up all your equipment and swords and stuff, only just to go fight a boss that you don't know how to do, so you have to research it. Like that's like a huge barrier to entry for me, and I guess it's my since there's no I guess the story is in the journey, and for me I'm like looking to discover stories in the world and like in characters. So like
Someone once said it's not about the destination, it's about the journey.
and we could play that clip back. No, I guess it's harder for me to engage, a story about, a legendary monster isn't that engaging for me because it's like I can't empathize with that monster. Like they're instinctual, right? And maybe I don't know if are the monsters intelligent anyway?
Yes, they definitely
Like
are.
beyond just like survival, like do they have goals?
Yeah.
Do they have ambitions?
Yes,
Yeah, they
question mark?
do.
Not that you would expect them to,
Yeah.
but it's just like there's that gap for me to jump. Like, how do I? Like, what's the payoff? Like, kill the thing.
I'm just saying, listen to the music because it is
No, I
excellent
absolutely. I'm gonna have
music.
to. Yeah.
So
Sorry, I was like getting in sidetracked by like Monster Hunter and entertaining playing that again. But absolutely, I'll go listen to the music.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those that you like the music but won't like the game.
Yeah.
We know, but it's the music is, and there's like so many themes throughout the years because there's been like, gosh, it came out in 2008, and like each game has had like its own, themes and its own, you know, music, and they've all been, from what I've heard, great.
Yeah, it's a highly produced game, if you will. All of them are highly produced. The visuals are always really good for whatever platform they're on. The music is solid. And actually, yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, Rony, because like realistically, yeah, the music is solid in Monster Hunter World, and the environment, like it goes really well with the environment, like we were talking about earlier. So yeah, that Monster Hunter is a great example of good music in a good game.
Good game,
Cool.
Clint.
Take your word for it. No, I've actually I've saved the playlist for the original soundtrack for.
Well,
Monster
and
Hunter
and Capcom recently released like a large portion of their catalog into Spotify. So they have not just Monster Hunter there; they have a whole bunch of a back catalog of all their games now in Spotify, which is great. Devil May Cry has also had some nice rockin' music too, if you like that, and that's in there too. So,
Okay. Devil May Cry was one of those series that I couldn't quite get into, so I haven't listened to the music much. It's those hack and slash adventure games.
But it's not just that. It's like there's like that timing associated with it too. Like.
Oh, does the music sync up in Devil May Cry with the actions in the game?
I feel like it does. Like it gets more excited. Like if you get lower health, it starts picking up.
Oh.
Or like if,
I love
but
that.
I don't think it like. I'm thinking of that game. There's a new game with where you have to shoot on the beat. It's like a FPS, but it's all music based. It's almost like a Dance Dance Revolution, but you shoot on the beat instead of pushing a button on the instead of stepping on the beat, you shoot on the beat and reload on the beat too.
Yeah.
Like
not like
Crypt of
that.
the Necrodancer.
Kind of like that, yeah.
It's like that.
Yeah.
Crypt
But
of the
anyway.
Necrodancer, for anyone that doesn't know, is a game where you're looking at top down on this world, and there's square grids, and you have a character. You jump from square to square to the beat, and all the enemies on the screen also jump on the beat whenever you jump. Actually, no, it's on the beat. And so in order to actually like get to them and then defeat them, you have to jump with the beat. And so it's like you're always doing something to the beat, and it feels really good. So what's the FPS called? Do you remember?
Bullets per minute, BPM.
BPM.
You should check it out. You might like it.
Yeah, it's a good game.
You played it?
Yes, I did.
Okay. I'm interested, but I don't have a PC to run it.
Yeah, I had played Crypt of the Necrodancer, and I heard this like, oh, this is the FPS version of Crypt of the Necrodancer. I was like, sure, I'll try it out. So yeah, I actually enjoyed it.
Yeah, I have always loved rhythmic games where the music syncs up. I've actually started a side project to try and write a mobile game that, like a top-down shooter, like what are those called when it's the arcade one where you've got like a plane or something and you're shooting up the screen.
A shmup?
A shmup, yeah. Shoot 'em up, yeah.
Shmups.
I wanted to build a shoot 'em up game for a mobile device where every time you move, like the obstacles and the enemies that come down were synced to the game, and it, depending on how intense the song was, the level would get more intense, and so you'd be moving, and chances are every movement that you make is to the beat, and so everything would sync up, and I wanted it to be like this intense musical connection. I unfortunately never took off on that. Maybe I'll still work on it someday, but
No,
There's
but now
a
the
mobile
idea's out there
game?
in the wild. Somebody else is going to steal it from
You
you.
know,
Hurry.
if someone wants to build a game that has those features exactly, I'm not gonna cry and will actually pay for it.
Well, there's the game called Beat Hazard on mobile, but it takes a song that you have on your phone and builds a level out of that song.
Yeah,
So like as the song plays, and it's more like Asteroids, where like you guys in the center. It doesn't move though, but as the song plays, like things kind of happen to the music, like enemies spawn or like obstacles show up, and it's all
Yeah.
to the beat. Called Beat. There's a Beat Hazard 1 and Beat Hazard 2. I played 1, I haven't played 2 yet, but I remember enjoying it, but it's been a while.
yeah. I think I've
So
played
it's-
that.
Okay. It kind of reminded me of what you're talking about, but I would like to see your game too.
Yeah. Well, maybe someday. Well, we are pretty far into this episode. We should probably wrap it up.
So you going to sing us out?
I don't know, man. I don't know about that.
I mean, don't you want to be the very best that you can be? Oh, I messed up the song. I want to be. Oh, don't you want to be the very best like no one ever was?
Yes, there you go. Perfect.
Gosh, darn it.
No, I don't blame you. Well, thank you for listening to the Winning Sometimes show. We will be having more episodes like this, sort of just getting through some of the topics that we love and are passionate about. You can find us on YouTube. We post our episodes there. We don't have any video yet. We might do something like that in the future. We also potentially will be doing Let's Plays on Twitch and posting those on
We
YouTube.
will be.
We will be, yes. And we'll have a Twitter soon. We'll
We have a
If you-
website, though.
Yes, we have a website, winningsometimes.com, so go ahead and visit that if you'd like. If you have any feedback, you can right now email us at show@winningsometimes.com. Just let us know how you feel about the podcast. If you have any feedback or anything you want to hear, please let us know. We're listening. So, all right.
Hooray.
All right. Thanks for listening, everyone. You have a good night.
Bye.